Welcome to our podcast,
Real Marriage
Real Talk with Mr. and Mrs. Eagleton.
But why did they not like me?
I do
Because
think,
I wasn't seeking their approval?
oh, for
that was
sure,
probably a
for
good
sure,
part of it.
that's what it was. And so, like we mentioned this earlier. I was pretty much like out of my relationship, but I was pretty much out
He
of my
didn't think
relationship.
so.
He didn't want it to be the case.
He didn't think so.
But the gentleman that I dated before we met, we've been together 3 years, and he's like a really nice guy. He was not a bad guy. He was like faithful. He was funny, engaging, all of the things, charismatic. And we looked in different directions long term. He was raised to like get a job and you stay on that job forever, getting whatever increases, come from that. He wasn't ambitious. He wasn't trying to go to school. And for someone like me who is ambitious and a hustler, I was always trying to encourage him to like, what are you going to do about that? What are you going to do about this? And he wasn't interested. And I could just see that I was going to be frustrated if I kept going in this relationship. And if it, wound up being marriage or something else, I'm going to be frustrated because I'm looking this direction and he's looking in the other direction. So like I was done. But because of his personality, like my dad's side of the family, they adored him. Because they would even, like in relation to you, they were like, he's never going to replace Michael, blah, 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 blah. And I was
Her aunt
like,
told me that.
yeah, she did.
She said, you will never replace Michael. And my response was, I'm not trying to replace Michael. I don't care. I don't really care if you like me.
Yeah.
If I needed money, you would not be the first person I called. If I needed something, you couldn't help me.
Right.
I don't really care if you like me.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was
that was solidified.
We were at my grandmother's house when that happened. They said, you'll never replace, we're sitting in her kitchen, remember? She said, you'll never replace Michael on the phone. We were on the phone.
Oh, yes, that's right.
She said, you'll never replace Michael. And I told her that day.
Yeah.
I have a pretty good memory.
Yes.
I said, and so I gave Tivarri the phone back, and I don't know when we turned the corner.
I know, because then they were like,
yeah, they really didn't like me, but
it was after we were married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After we were married.
Uh-huh.
Her dad didn't like me.
No.
So how did I end up getting you? Nobody in your family liked me. I don't know.
Well, I always felt like, even in terms of your family, I always felt like I'm in this relationship for you. It's about us. Always. And even more so after marriage. I felt like it was us against the world. Remember, I was saying not grammatically correct, but I was like, we're all we got.
Right.
If the walls fall down, we're all we got. So we're going to make this work.
We were just dating then, so it wasn't like...
No, that's true.
We were dating.
That's true. But
her family did not like me.
No.
Her mom, I don't know if her mom liked me or not.
She had turned a corner.
But I know her dad didn't like me.
No.
And her aunts didn't like me. And her aunts were very vocal about, like, to me directly, they didn't like me.
That whole side of my family is very vocal.
Right. They let me know.
They're going to let you know.
They did not like me.
Exactly what they're thinking. Right?
At all.
Right. Yeah, so that was...
But we overcame that.
We did.
Or I overcame that.
We did overcome that. Yeah.
But it's very different. I think people underestimate the difficulty of marrying lives and how much baggage you bring into a relationship.
Yeah.
Everything from, you grew up with a single mom. I grew up with mom and dad being married. You grew up not really going to church. I grew up going to church all the time.
Yeah.
In my family, education was a big deal. Go to school, do well.
Yep.
It was a foregone conclusion that we would all go to college.
Right.
Like my mom it was almost like when you get to college.
Right.
It wasn't if you go, it was when you get to college, this is what you're going to do. Or when you get to college, this is how you're going to behave. Or, so it was, college was the 13th grade.
Right.
And it was a foregone conclusion that you would go to college. So that was kind of the things that were kind of ingrained into us and drilled into us. And because of all the things, the extracurriculars that we were in, like my brother I wasn't good at marrying all of it. I was a decent athlete, but I was a good student, and I probably could have done them together, but I didn't.
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, my brother was very good at doing both.
Yeah.
And so my brother is really smart. Mm-hmm. My sister is really smart.
Yep.
My brother is really smart. My sister's really smart. And my brother was a good athlete as well. Mm-hmm. It wasn't until he got like some injury or something that the athletics part was done. But we were always involved in all the other extracurricular. We were in band, we were in debate and speech. Mm-hmm. My sister was the student director for the school play, and so my mom just identified somebody at our high school that she thought was going to be good for us, and so she connected us with that teacher. Mm-hmm. So we were with Mendoza all of our high school time. Mm-hmm. She was this little Caucasian lady married to a Hispanic gentleman. And with a Catholic upbringing, her name was Mary Frances. Mary Frances something else. Mary Frances Mendoza, her married name.
Yep.
But my mom got us with someone that she thought was going to be good for us. And it turns out she was very good for us.
Yeah.
She was very, very good for our development. She was good for our ability to learn how to speak in public.
Yes.
Which all three of us do. I don't do as much. My brother and sister do those. That's part of their jobs.
Right.
But that was kind of our upbringing. And so we were doing all the nerdy things that kids did at school. Mm-hmm. Not always kids that look like us doing
Usually
those things.
Not. Yeah.
But, there weren't many African-American kids doing the things that we were doing. But my mom got us involved in those things that have served us well throughout our careers. But I think people underestimate the challenges of marrying different backgrounds in a home. Or even dating someone. There are things that you do, things that I do that are maybe not now, but things that I did early on that were a direct result of how I was brought up, even if they were subconscious things that I did.
Like what?
The ways I saw things. I don't know. Because it's so ingrained in you. I don't know. I can't think of a good example now. Let's see. Well, we talk about going to church. For me, that was every Sunday.
Yeah.
That wasn't the case for you.
No.
Necessarily. So we guess we're fast forwarding a little bit. When we had kids, when we got married, we're going to church every Sunday.
Right, like you would feel
and we're
guilty.
going to church every Wednesday.
There was this like guilt and shame and all of those other if you don't go to church all the time.
So that's a big one. That was a big because that was a big part of our lives.
Yes, huge.
So it was, and when you grow up in some of those environments, it's almost a guilt if you don't go.
Right.
So if I miss a Sunday, then
they'll
you feel
ask
this
you, like, where were you?
this guilt about not going.
Right.
But there are other things. Like there's this old story about this young lady cutting off the end of the ham before she put it in the oven all the time.
Yeah.
And she finally asked her grandmother why, and her grandmother was like, because I didn't have a long pan.
Right. I was cutting it. It was functional.
I was cutting it off. It was functional. My pan was not long enough for the ham, so I cut it off to fit. And this young lady sees it all the time growing up, so she cuts off the end of the ham.
She thinks that's what you're
and
supposed
somebody
to
asks
do.
her, why are you doing this? Well, that's
what my
grandmother always did. Yeah. So you ask your grandmother why, and she's like, because my pan was too short. So you just don't.
Right.
Or the old one, no, this is the other one, where the people get married and the husband wakes up and sits on the side of the bed. Remember?
Yes, I told you about this.
On the side of the bed.
Yes. It was after they got married.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's waiting, and she's like, what are you waiting for? He's like, I'm waiting for you to bring my house shoes and my coffee. And she was like,
it was like my dinner and my iced tea. That's what it was.
At the table.
It's like, bring me, I go and sit,
tea.
and I'm waiting for you to bring me my dinner and my iced tea. And she's like, what are you talking about? Because in his brain, that's what wives did for husbands.
Right.
And she was like, I can't cook. So I was like, what?
But what he had seen was his mom bringing dinner and iced tea to his dad.
Right.
And so that's what you, and so what?
Yeah.
What's common is common. what you see all the time is common to
Right.
you, and you don't recognize that it's uncommon for other people.
Right.
And so you just do, what you've seen done.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes a part of who you are and part of what you do.
Mm-hmm.
So it becomes a challenge when you start marrying your life with someone else, marrying someone, and then you see those things, how you communicate,
Yeah.
how you clean the house, how you
Yes.
cook, how you serve, how you treat each other. It becomes an extension of what you grew up seeing.
Yes.
So our backgrounds are very different.
Mm-hmm.
Our upbringings are very different in just about every way.
Yeah.
I don't know how that came across so much when we were dating. I will tell you this. So the whole gifts thing, my dad was not, early on he was, but later on he was, doing his own thing. So he wasn't really always around.
Mm-hmm.
But I do remember my dad buying gifts for my mom. Remember him buying gifts and wrapping them and leaving them on the bed for her to find and open.
Mm.
So I didn't make that up.
Yeah. This is
I
what
just
was
remember
modeled for you.
I remember
Mhm.
seeing that.
Right.
But it's interesting what sometimes you take things, sometimes you don't. Other things he did I didn't take, that I witnessed. I didn't take those things because I didn't want to be that or do that.
Yeah.
But it is challenging when you do that. Your backgrounds impacts a lot, and I think people don't always recognize that and recognize the challenges it can cause in relationships.
Yeah.
And if you don't sit down with someone, maybe a third party, an objective third party to help you navigate some of that, then you have some real challenges in dating and in marriage. Marriage for sure, but even in dating.
True.
Like, why are you doing it this way? Why'd you respond this way when I said this? Why were you triggered by this?
Right.
And you don't, until you do some exploration, you don't know those things.
So what is some advice that you would give young people when it comes to dating, like in this day and age, where it is difficult, where the perception, I guess there's some reality in that too, is that the dating pool is so big because you have access to, these hundreds of thousands or millions of people on apps, where it's this click or what is it, swipe left or
Swipe.
right, or yeah. What advice would you give someone now for navigating dating? Because like even our own daughters talked about going on a date, and she was like, "Mom, this dude talked at me the whole date. Like he was telling me about his parents' private jet and da 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 da." She said, "Not once did he ask a question about me to get to know me," and she was done. Like she was like, "Okay, I'm out of here." But
And it goes back to what we discussed a little bit earlier, that I think a lot of young people have lost, maybe not just young people, but people have lost social skills and the ability to sit down with someone face to face and just have a conversation
right,
that is not self-centered. It's fairly easy to sit down and talk about myself,
right,
all of my interests, what I want to do, what I'm doing next weekend, what my parents have, what I have.
Yeah.
That's fairly easy to do. It's more complicated, it's more challenging to sit down and have an interactive conversation with someone where I deliberately try to get to know them.
right, with no ulterior motives. Like I just want to get to know who you are as a
Right.
person. I'm not taking you here so I can then sleep with you after this or
Right.
get you to spend this amount of money or whatever.
But when we spend all of our time on our phones,
Right.
texting, or even video chatting. I guess I know people do that. I guess they probably don't do that when they're dating. I don't know. We haven't dated in 28 years outside of each other.
Yeah.
So I don't really know, but I have been around young people who are always on their phones. So it's very difficult to they don't have the skills to do that,
Yeah.
which is challenging. So if I were talking to a young man or young woman who wanted to have a relationship, I guess I would tell them is try to, first of all, I would look for real characteristics in someone.
Right.
Not, I know, this is going to be very counterculture,
Very.
And we consume a lot of relationship content. And for young women, I'll tell you what I hear most often. Maybe it's because my algorithm feeds me this.
Right.
But it is about how tall he is, how much money he makes, and where he's going to take me on the first date.
Right.
That seems to be a big deal.
Right.
So there's no discussion about whether he's a person of integrity, a person of honor, a person of compassion, a person, how does he treat his mom, how does he treat his sister, how does he treat the server at the restaurant?
Yes.
None of those things come up. It is how tall is he, how much money does he make?
Right.
And those are not really lasting. I mean, the height is a lasting trait, but it's not really a characteristic. It's not really, it doesn't really tell you about that person.
That's a physical attribute.
A physical
that he
attribute.
has no control over.
Right.
Right.
But we give it a lot of, they give it a lot of credence.
Yeah, they do. Yes.
Because I don't want a short person.
No short kings.
Right. No, they say no short kings. So.
Right.
And when women say that, this is a little bit off the top, but when women say that, you are limiting yourself because the average height of a man in this country is 5'9".
Right.
That's the average height.
Yes. Yeah.
And there are far more men shorter than 5'9" than there are men greater than 6 feet.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So you are limiting yourself just with that one number.
Right.
They've got to be 6 feet tall.
They have to
or,
make
or
this
higher.
amount of money. So that
And
dating
then you
pool
say,
is just like,
right. And then you say they've got to make $100,000.
Right.
Well, that's probably 5 or 6% of the population. Maybe more than that.
Yeah.
But every time you say those things, you start limiting the people who are. You start limiting your pool.
Right. And what is it that men, you think, when you're looking at these things, what is it that they're wanting and they should be?
Honestly,
probably.
Young men are usually only thinking about physical attributes. What does she look like? What does her body look like?
Right.
I mean, that's.
And how easy is it to get it?
Well, maybe they're thinking that. I don't know. But it is those, because men are visual by and large. And so it is what is physically attractive to me. Now, looks fade over time.
Yeah.
Which is a challenge with doing that.
Yeah.
So when she doesn't look the way she did when she was 21 and now she's 41 and she looks different, what have you built your relationship on? If it was only her physical attributes, then what do you do?
You're not going to say the same. Right.
Let's say she has an accident and she has some horrible scar.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Right.
If you've only built it on superficial things, you don't really have much much of a foundation to grow with. Now, I'm not going to say physical attributes aren't important.
Yeah, they are. You have to be attracted
Clearly,
to them, right? Yeah.
Because if you were not pretty, I wasn't going to talk. I wasn't going to have Teresa come and find you.
No problem.
Right? I wouldn't have remembered what you had on at the deli that day.
I guess, yeah.
So that's silly to say, don't even think about that.
Yes.
But there has to be more to it than that. But I would suggest to people, go out and have a conversation without your phones. Try to get to know that person.
Yeah.
Ask questions about their upbringing, about their lives, about what they want to do, what they want to see in their future. Maybe you don't hit them with that all at once on the first date.
What are your
short-term goals? What are your
Right.
long-term goals on the first date? Maybe not, because any woman who says that to a guy on the first date is not getting a second date.
No, he's done.
That's heavy on the first date.
Right. How many kids do you want to have?
I know. Right? How do you want to raise the kids? Where do you want to live?
Right.
Do you want kids to go to private school? I mean, I'll hit them with all that.
Yeah.
But you should be able to have a conversation with someone and get to know them.
Yeah.
That would be my suggestion.
Yes.
And no preconceived ideas. Just we're going out. The goal of going out is to get to know you.
Right.
And if you want to get to know me, to share who I am with you so you get to know me. I don't know. One of our nephews said all they want is fancy.
Girls these days?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was interesting. We were with our nephews who are all in their 20s. And they were saying, because I asked them, like, how is dating going? Are you dating somebody? They're like, Auntie, it's so hard. these girls want you to like get their nails done for them and take them to these expensive restaurants. And and I was like, but y'all are broke. Like, you college students are fresh out of college. You don't have money to do that. Where are these expectations coming from? So yeah, it is
Coming
hard.
from popular songs.
Yes, Cardi B. Yes, broke boys
No.
don't deserve
That's what they
the
say.
kitty. Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Broke boys get it all the time, though.
Literally, they get it all the time. So, yeah, there has to be some reshaping of reality.
On both sides.
On both sides, yes. On both sides.
And because the popular culture, it's challenging because the popular culture wants men and women to be at odds.
Mm-hmm.
So these red pill, blue pill people or commentators on relationships usually profit from the division. They profit from the gender wars.
Yeah.
And so they perpetuate that.
Yes.
And they find, if they're men, they find a willing audience in other young men who are keyboard warriors, play video games, VR.
Incels, all those things.
And I don't have to engage with women because it's uncomfortable for me.
Right.
And so when I've not gotten the response I wanted, so I retreat into my shell.
Yeah.
And then it's the woman's fault.
Absolutely. I was
It's
just saying,
every woman's fault
and women are the bad guy.
It's every woman's fault because I had a challenging experience once or twice or more than that.
Yeah.
So I don't develop those social skills. I listen to these guys that tell me I'm vindicated in my thoughts and my feelings. My anger, whatever it is. And so that perpetuates it.
Yeah.
So then I only listen to their content because it validates how I feel. And all along, they're just profiting off of
your rage,
the gender wars.
Yes, exactly. They're profiting off your frustration and anger. And
really, I don't think, this is going to be controversial maybe, but it may be a little self-serving since we're talking about relationships and marriage. But if you are a single young man and you're looking to marry, you should not take advice about how to marry, how to get married, how to find a suitable mate from someone who isn't married.
Right.
So there are young men taking advice from 30-year-old men who've never had a girlfriend, never had a serious relationship, and aren't married.
Right.
And they're giving you information about how to find someone. Really, they're telling you women are awful.
Right.
And so it's challenging to find someone.
So find one of them who will just do whatever you tell them to do.
Right. So that's the first thing.
Yeah.
You probably shouldn't be taking advice from someone who is not where you want to be. But that's in every part of your life.
Yes. Yeah.
If I'm going to a personal trainer, I need to see your portfolio. Pictures of yourself without a shirt on.
Right.
I want to see what you're built like right now.
Right.
Not what you were like, maybe what you were like before,
Right.
because you have some.
Yeah.
But if you are 300 pounds and your BMI is 49, you can't be my trainer.
Right.
Because
there has to be
I
some
don't want
evidence
to
that this
be
works for you.
Right. I don't want to be built like that.
You don't ask someone to teach you how to run a successful business who's never had a business.
Right.
And you know what I mean?
Right.
You don't try to take advice from someone who hasn't lived this out as like a proven
Right. And that's kind of what's
concept,
happening in these situations. These young men are taking advice from men who are not in relationships.
Absolutely.
I think someone was talking to Nick Fuentes, asking him about, because he gives a bunch of information, he gives a bunch of content about relationships and what he says about women. And so Piers Morgan was like, do you have a girlfriend? No. Have you ever had a girlfriend?
No.
So we're taking advice,
No.
taking advice from a young man about relationships who's never had a relationship or a real relationship.
Right.
That's problematic.
Yeah, for sure.
My advice to young people looking for meaningful relationships is probably avoid advice from people who are not in long-term meaningful relationships.
Right.
But I would say that for any part of your life, when you're looking for a mentor in a particular area of your life, observe what they are doing, and then get information about what they are doing if you want to be successful in that area. And it goes a lot for relationships. And there's a lot of information out there about it. That's our take on kind of advice for younger people, kind of our story of how we met. Join us next time when we talk about how your background, your baggage, and our background and baggage kind of shaped our early years in marriage. Thank you on the Real Marriage, Real Talk with Mr. and Mrs. Eagleton.
You can also follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at Mr. and Mrs. Eagleton.